This week on the Honor Roll podcast, we will be talking to honor students Nora Wolfgang and Whitney Lewis, along with Judy Genshaft Honors College Advancement Administrator Marco Nardiello, all about securing scholarships at USF. Coming up next. Hey Honors Bulls, welcome to the Honor Roll podcast, the flagship podcast of the Judy Genshaft Honors College podcast network. I am your host, Caroline Merriman, a fourth-year student studying English and biology at the University of South Florida and a member of the Honors College. Today, my co-host is Fabiana Requena, a third-year student studying marketing and business analytics. Welcome back.
Thanks, Caroline. It's great to be here.
As always, we like to start the podcast off with one big question. So my question this week is, have you ever gotten a scholarship?
Actually, yes, I have. So when I first applied to USF, I got the presidential scholarship along with the National College Board Latinx scholarship, and that was also through the Honors College. So the payments I received were not only through USF but the Honors College, and I hope to do some study abroad ones through the Honors College as well.
Nice. It's really great that we have those opportunities to get money and funding for things to do in college, because it is so stressful when you're not just doing school, but you're having to pay for yourself to be alive and to have groceries and to have a car and things like that.
Yeah. What about you?
I got the presidential scholarship through USF when I enrolled. And then I've just gotten scholarships here and there every year, $600 a semester for this and $600 a semester for that. And I just got a creative writing scholarship. It's called the Thomas Sanders Scholarship. I just got that this semester, so that's been really helpful to have.
Well, congratulations. It's nice to hear that you can actually get scholarships while you're still in school. So it doesn't have to be just for those prospective students or when you're in high school applying to college. You can actually look for opportunities while you're still studying.
Yeah, and some of them are really low key. It is really just it's very informal. It's just a little essay, and you get your sum and you're done. And so that's really nice as well. And talking about scholarships and things, today we will be joined by honor students Nora Wolfgang and Whitney Lewis about how securing scholarships has impacted their experience at USF, and by Marco Nardiello, who will share good advice on how to actually get some of these scholarships. Stay tuned.
Are you interested in graduate study, prestigious scholarships, studying abroad? Serving all three USF campuses, the Office of National Scholars, ONS, mentors USF students for prestigious awards and scholarship programs focused on research, international education, graduate study, and intellectual development. If you're interested in applying for awards like Fulbright, Rhodes, or Marshall, don't wait. Meet with an ONS advisor to discover what's possible. You can visit the ONS website or drop by their office on the second floor of the Judy Genshaft Honors College building to learn more.
Hey Honors Bulls! Today we are joined by honor students Nora Wolfgang and Whitney Lewis, as well as Judy Genshaft Honors College Advancement Administrator Marco Nardiello. Welcome to the podcast. Would each of you like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so I'm Nora. I'm currently a senior at USF. I have one semester left. I'm a biomedical anthropology major. I have a criminology minor, and I'm on the pre-med track.
Hi, my name is Whitney. I am also a senior who's pre-med, but I am majoring in biomedical engineering, and one more semester to go.
And my name is Marco Nardiello. I am the Advancement Administrator for the Judy Genshaft Honors College, and I am also a proud Judy Genshaft Honors College alumni.
It's so nice to have all of you here. I wanted to start off with a little bit of a student perspective because you're both very active here on campus at USF. Whitney, you're a medical interpreter and vice president of the chapter of Black engineers at USF. What inspired you to take on these roles, and what have you learned from your experiences?
For the medical interpreter role, it was mainly because my family, my wonderful parents, are from Haiti. And so I really wanted to have a chance to give back to the community and kind of serve the refugees who would come here and just need somebody to translate for them. And it's really been a wonderful experience just to gain a clinical perspective of what I want to do in the future. So in terms of the National Society of Black Engineers, I joined that organization just to be with more like-minded individuals who look like me, and we were going through the same majors. And it's really been a wonderful opportunity to just grow together, have professional development opportunities, just to have fun too, like on a random Thursday. So I would encourage anyone who's an engineer, Black or not, to join because it's really an amazing organization.
Yeah, I think it's hard, like, sometimes for students, like, when they first start out to, like, find an organization that, like, fits for them. So it's cool to hear that you found places where, like, you felt seen, but also, like, you could have a good time and have fun. How did you kind of, like, have the courage to do that, like, hit the ground running when you got to USF?
Honestly, I didn't hit the ground running in terms of like involvement until my junior year. I think initially I didn't really do many extracurriculars in like secondary or high school or whatever it's called. I didn't really do many extracurriculars. And so I was kind of nervous at first. I was like, I should focus and, get my GPA going and not really join any orgs. And so it wasn't until junior year where, well, I think it was end of sophomore year where someone was like, join NSBE to kind of get involved. And so my friend was on an e-board for a different organization. And I was like, okay, if she can do it, maybe I can do it too, because she was encouraging me. And so I applied for a random opening they had like right before fall semester, and ever since it's been history. So, yeah.
And then, Nora, you're a member of organizations like Phi Beta Kappa, which welcome back to the show. But also you have undergraduate research roles and you work at the Department of Anthropology. Can you also tell us like how these roles impacted you and what you've gained from all these experiences?
Yeah, so I think it is going to be kind of repetitive to what I talked about in the PBK episode because everything that I have experienced has been so motivated by this like holistic or well-rounded approach to my academic endeavors. I really just, instead of just focusing on my major or the boxes to tick off, I really just found all of these niches that I was interested in. So I work in outdoor recreation, which obviously has nothing to do with medicine. I get to volunteer at so many amazing places. I get to sing in the choir here at the Honors College. So I think for me, it's mostly just encouraging people to try new things and find what they really enjoy, because that's what's really kept me going throughout my college career, is having all of these outlets, both creative and academic, to get through it all.
Nora, you specifically mentioned like you encourage people to like try a bunch of different things, like find your niche. Do you either of you have like a favorite experience you've had at USF?
Yeah, I can start. I think my favorite experience, and actually connects to scholarships, but was studying abroad. I had the amazing opportunity to study abroad twice. I got to go to London after freshman year and Transylvania after my sophomore year. And both of those trips, I met some of my best friends ever, and I got to learn more about myself and about culture and about super interesting academic topics that I never even knew existed. So I definitely would say USF giving me the opportunity to study abroad has been my favorite experience so far.
Yeah, that was going to be my answer as well. I got to study abroad in Italy this past summer. It was my first time traveling solo, and it's so beautiful over there. It was such a wonderful experience. And I got to work with the Office of National Scholars to actually get the Gilman Scholarship, which is awesome. But to, I guess, give a different answer, I got to be an honors peer mentor this semester. So I basically got to teach, like the first year honor students and kind of help them transition into college life. It was awesome to see them transition from high school kind of mindset to a college mindset and just help them learn about registration and getting involved and things like that. It was great.
I think it's really nice to hear that you both said study abroad, because a lot of students, when they think about study abroad, associate it with a high cost. And it's nice to know that the Honors College and USF in general makes studying abroad and widening your perspective really accessible to all people who want to do that. Marco, you, as you mentioned before, are an Honors and USF alum, and now you work here. You must really love the Honors College. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role?
Yes, I do love the Honors College, Fabi. I have been educated here. I'm employed here. I met my wife here, who I believe Whitney worked with Lauren Roberts over in the Office of National Scholars. That is my wife. I met her here, so shout out to them.
She's awesome.
Yes, and I am the advancement administrator here, so I see my role as kind of two halves. On one half, I help raise money for the college, and on the other half, the more enjoyable half, I say, I get to spend that money on things like scholarships and study abroad. and it's very rewarding to me. And this is my community. I've been here for a long time, and I love the people here. I love this place.
That was really sweet. Well, thank you for all that you do for our students and all that you do for USF. This kind of brings us to the heart of today's episode, which is, honor scholarships. It is that time of year when a lot of students are applying to join USF, or a lot of students are applying for scholarships for the next semester. And so they're all interested in finding ways, to help pay for college or things like study abroad. We would like to start off by asking both of you, Nora and Whitney, about your own scholarship experiences, and just go into a bit of the details about the scholarships you've received at USF, just to start to get an understanding of, what range of opportunities are out there for our current students.
All right. Yeah. For me, I came in and scholarships were very important for me because where I ended up going to college depended on how much money I received and if I could afford it. So I pretty much applied to every single scholarship there was. I was lucky enough to receive the Green and Gold Presidential Scholarship, which made an out-of-state student like me get in-state tuition. So that was already amazing. It made it even more affordable than going to an in-state school for me. Then I received the Whitkoff Family Scholarship, which was awesome. I just wrote literally a 250-word essay, and I get $2,000 every semester, which is amazing and makes it a lot easier for me to actually focus on school rather than just finding those extra $2,000 that I would had to provide otherwise. And then I also, like I mentioned earlier, I got the Genshaft Global Presidential Scholarship, which was, I believe it goes by a different name now, but when I got it, that was the name of it. And I received $10,000 to study abroad. And like I said, that was so amazing for me to learn about the world and really expand my horizons to opportunities that I didn't think I would have otherwise.
And how did you make yourself aware of the different scholarship opportunities? How did you find them, especially when you were a high school student applying to college?
Mm-hmm. So USF is very transparent about their baseline scholarships, which would be the Green and Gold Scholarship that I got. And that's just you can just go onto their scholarship website, and that's just if you have certain scores, you get this much, et cetera, et cetera. As for the Whitkoff Scholarship, I just go onto the USF Foundation Scholarship website. Is that what it's called?
Award Spring.
Yes, Award Spring. Yeah. And it's super easy. You can just put in your information. And so I put everything that I was passionate about, all of my demographics, stuff like that. And it gives you a list of things that you can apply to. And I applied to every single one. And so I just got the Whitkoff one, which I'm, again, very thankful for. And otherwise, I just spent a lot of time looking through the websites, emailing with the dean, so forth. And I just got really lucky being able to find these things that applied to me and my experiences.
And then, Marco, you mentioned Award Spring. Can you tell, for the audience that may not be super aware of what Award Spring is, can you explain that?
Award Spring is USF's scholarship portal. So there are Marcos across campus who administer scholarships for, MUMA College of Business, for education, arts and sciences. All of them put their scholarships on Award Spring. I'm probably going to be a broken record this entire time, just pushing Award Spring. It is a one-stop shop. Like Nora said, you fill out a survey, it takes all your data, your information, and it presents you with the scholarships that you are able to apply for. So you're probably going to hear me talk about it a couple more times, but Award Spring is USF's portal for scholarships.
So in terms of the scholarships that I was, fortunate to get, recently I got the Helios Education Foundation STEM Scholarship, which was mainly founded in order to support minority students in their education. And this one is STEM oriented. So I think because I was engineering that came along. But I also was able to get the Johnson Family Foundation Scholarship my first year, which I didn't even apply for. I honestly had no clue what Award Spring was until maybe my sophomore year, but I agree that it's definitely been very, very helpful in just finding all scholarships that you're already eligible for and just applying for those directly. So I think that was the gateway to getting the Helio Scholarship this semester, as well as some engineering-related scholarships that I also got. And so it was really helpful.
Hi, my name is Kate Ashmore. I am the Scholars Advisor at the Judy Genshaft Honors College here at the University of South Florida. The USF George W. Jenkins Scholarship, generously funded by Publix Charities, is awarded to a select group of incoming first-year students. Applicants must demonstrate academic merit as well as a high level of financial need and have overcome a significant obstacle in life as they are pursuing their educational goals. Recipients of this scholarship become Jenkins Scholars and receive a substantial financial award up to the full cost of attendance to assist with tuition, housing, and various expenses. Jenkins Scholars also enjoy numerous perks while at USF, including a dedicated Scholars Advisor, optional free private tutoring, and a graduate student mentor. For more information on how to apply, every spring for incoming freshman students, check out our website on the USF Honors College page. Go Bulls!
As people who have been like awarded scholarships, would you be able to, talk about like maybe your strategy in applying for, all these different awards, or kind of like maybe appealing to, award givers for like all the students who are listening who maybe, aren't sure of how to approach like applying for scholarships?
Also, like any tips on writing this, because typically they're essays,
and
right?
things like that.
Yeah, I think we did have kind of different experiences in it, so it might be a little interesting to compare our experiences, because all of mine I received before freshman year. I applied to them during my summer before moving to Tampa. And like I said, mine was very broad. I applied to everything. And so I wrote a lot of essays. And the two that were successful, I would say I just kind of stuck to myself rather than trying to appeal to what they want to hear. For example, for Whitcoff, the prompt was, "Is life a dancer or a wrestler?" And I danced competitively for 18 years. So I got to talk about something that I was passionate about and how it complemented my life experiences, basically, rather than just being like, this is what they want to hear and this is how I'm going to write it in grammatically correct English. And same with Genshaft Global. I really just talked about my life experiences. And I went back and read it the other day and I was like, I wonder why they gave me this scholarship. Because it sounds like a high school junior wrote it. But I mean, I guess that's the point. But yeah, I guess I would just emphasize staying true to yourself, and because that's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you more unique rather than just sticking to what you expect them to hear.
So when I was using Award Spring, I noticed that a lot of the scholarships have requirements where you just have to like attach a student resume or something. And I think for those, it was really easy to just quickly apply and to make sure I applied for those that I wouldn't say required the least effort, but it was just a simple thing. Like, in order for me to apply, all I have to do is put my resume. Like, yes, I will do that. And I think there were others that were, like Nora mentioned, that were more, like, open-ended, I guess, and just more unique in everyone's responses. And I honestly think those were the most fun to write, because it wasn't just uploading it and then I'm done. But instead, you really got to think about the questions. And so I think my approach would just be, if it's something super easy to apply for, go ahead and do that. And for the ones where it's just a short response, like, have fun with it. And like she said, like, be yourself. Talk about who you are, what your passions are, your reasoning behind it, because they're honestly not complicated, usually not more than 250 to 500 words. So it's really a quick thing. And you don't even have to do them all in one sitting. You know, you can close Award Spring and go back and find all of those scholarships again. And then, you know, put your response in a separate paper or just do it day by day. So, yeah.
If I could just chime in as someone who reads the essays, the most important thing really is, I used to have one piece of advice, but now I have two, I guess. The new piece of advice is, if you're going to use ChatGPT or any, I'm not going to say you can't use it or that we have an eagle eye and always know if you do use it, but if you're going to, be diligent about it, because there's certain turns of phrase that make it really obvious that you used AI. So just be proactive if you're going to use AI. I'm not going to say anything about the ethics of it or anything like that. But the next biggest piece of advice, and this stands for all time, be different, be unique in your essay, be yourself, like Nora said. We used to have a scholarship essay question that was, what is the best quality for a leader to possess? after you read your 100th essay about integrity, you start thinking like, yeah, okay, a leader does need to have integrity. That's a good thing. But then an essay rolls around, it's like cat ownership is what makes a good leader. And your brain has a little like, oh, this essay is, this student went out there. They did that weird, took the risk. And those essays really stand out compared to, just kind of like the answer that you think that they want to hear. Oh, integrity, I'm going to be a great leader. Oh, everyone's going to be that, just own a cat and be a leader. That's
Yeah, I think that's cool to hear, like, from your perspective. I've never thought about that, having applied to so many scholarships. And I'm like, man, I should have written about my cat or my dog instead of...
Just hours of reading the same subject over and over, like standing out is probably the most important thing, probably more than grammar or anything. Just standing out is such a big factor in, working your way up to the top of the scholarship list.
Along those same lines, have you read or can you think of any particular essay or response that really stood out to you?
Outside the cat ownership one, that was like 5 years ago.
Wait, that was for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember if the kid got the scholarship or anything, but I remember thinking that this is an essay, kid. This is something.
They're going to go far.
But other ones that stand out, I can't really say. There's been a whole mountain that I've dug through in my 10 years here in the Honors College. But they stand out when they do. And when you're writing them, you can kind of tell, I think, if you're writing something that's kind of just run of the mill, or if you're putting yourself out there, taking a risk. And hey, maybe it's stupid, your joke doesn't land, it doesn't work. But that's better than writing about what 50 other kids wrote about. So if you're going to fail big. Maybe you'll win big.
So you talked about just a few of the scholarships that are available here to students at USF and specifically to the Honors College. Marco, can you tell us, our students that are listening, about the resources available here at the Judy Genshaft Honors College?
Yeah, I would encourage honors students to think there's 3 categories for honors college scholarships. The first ones, the lowest hanging fruit, are the requirement scholarships, your experiential learning scholarship, your academic requirement scholarship. If you've been around for a while, you might be on the community service or global engagement scholarships, but those pay out in 2 increments of $600 and 1 increment of $800, totaling $2,000 over the course of your honors career. Every honors student should get those. They are requirements for graduation. Every year I process the list at the end of the year, and there's kids who submit all their forms in the last minute. They don't get any of their money, but they graduate with honors. I'm like, man, you left $2,000 on the table here. Like, do those requirements. Talk to your advisors if you have any questions about them. The next category I'd say is kind of what we've been talking about more, the award spring. These are competitive scholarships donated by individuals in the community or organizations like the Helios Education Foundation. And those, broken record, they're on Award Spring. Award Spring is open right now. If you're listening to this, hop on there and apply. And then I guess our last category is our travel scholarships, which Nora's a Genshaft Global, so that's slightly different. You apply for that if you're an incoming freshman. So if you're incoming freshman listening, look into that. If you're an honor student already in the college and you are a first-time traveler abroad at USF, you will receive a travel scholarship if you are studying abroad with the JGHC on a program with the JGHC. And so those, I'd say, are the 3 main honors kind of entrees there.
But it is cool to know that like so many of the scholarships are like built in, and you don't really like have to like go out of your way to receive money. It's like already there. You just have to submit your forms like for the experiential learning things and things of the such. The honors website says that the Honors College awarded over $1 million in scholarships last year. So I'm sure you've been really, really busy in your office.
Having a ball.
So could you just talk to us like a bit about like, the ethos behind why the Honors College, puts such an emphasis on providing scholarships to students, but also, trying to get students to apply for them so that they, have that support?
The Honors College is really lucky that we can provide these resources. Like, it wouldn't be part of our ethos if we didn't have the money to award students. So it's kind of almost like a supply and demand sort of thing. We have all these generous benefactors, people in the community, like the Wickoff family, like Helios Foundation, who, are giving their hard-earned cash to this place, and they want us to spend that money on students, on their experiences. And so, got to supply scholarships. We want to drum up demand and get this money out the door and kids getting educated.
And then did you, this makes me curious, did you apply for any scholarships at your time here?
No comment on that one. I will say this. I was the recipient of a very generous travel scholarship from Dr. Genshaft, Mr. Greenbaum, that sent me abroad for the first time. Really, my first plane ride that I ever took in my life was to Florence, Italy, thanks to a travel scholarship from the Honors College. So I was a good student. I wasn't a great student. I wasn't out there sleuthing around for scholarships like I should have been, like you should be if you're listening.
He's a reformed man now. It's come full circle. So most of the scholarships do have like different requirements, but do you have any like other general advice for students who are applying, who, you know, kind of may feel like they're going in blind to this whole process because there's so much out there. So how do you sort through that?
I will say, I can't speak for other units and things like that, but the Honors College, as Whitney alluded to, our scholarship essays are short, 250 word, maybe 300 word this year essays that are typically not like talk about your volunteer or talk about what things, how many A's you got in high school. They're like kind of weirder brain teaser type thought-provoking questions. And the vast majority of our scholarships are available to students in any major studying anything. You know, if a donor is giving their money to the Honors College, they know it's an interdisciplinary school. They know whether you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant, you're going to be the best. You're going to be the one who cares. And so while we do have some scholarships that have like you need to be an aspiring dentist or you need to want to go to med school, we have a grocery manufacturers representatives endowed scholarship for students who are majoring in the College of Business, who are interested in consumer and packaged goods. Apply for that one. We normally don't get too many applicants, but it's a great scholarship. Yeah, I kind of just went on a tangent there. We also have a scholarship, another Whitcoff family scholarship that's for students studying the arts, a couple of STEM scholarships like the Helios. Yeah, all sorts of good stuff here.
Caroline, it sounds like we need to apply for some scholarships.
Like, what have I been doing? Like, where have I been?
So, Nora and Whitney, just to kind of wrap up, what are some things you hope to see for the future in terms of your career and the rest of your time here at USF? You only have a semester left.
Yeah, that's scary. I'm currently in the throes of studying for the MCAT right now. So I'm taking that after I graduate in May. Then I'm taking a gap year where I'll be working in Tampa Bay still, and then applying to med schools. So pray for me about that. But the plan right now is I'm really interested in forensic pathology. I'm really interested in everything around death care. So that's the goal right now, to go to med school and explore my options. But forensic pathology is really what I'm interested in.
I'm also in a similar boat in terms of like taking a gap year and using that time to gain some clinical experience and study for my MCAT and apply at some point. So please pray for me as well. And so my aspirations are to be an OBGYN, like an obstetrician gynecologist. And I want to specialize in maternal fetal medicine because I have a strong passion for women's health. And I kind of had a little chance to do that like last year. I was also I was on 2 boards at the same time, which is not the smartest idea in terms of workload. But there's also, there exists a USF like maternal and child health student organization. They're kind of like College of Public Health oriented, but just kind of their passion and just the fact that there's a master's program just for maternal and child health was really inspiring. So hopefully I can take what I've learned from that and bring that to a career in the future.
That's so cool. We have full faith in you guys in achieving your wonderful dreams.
Thank you.
I'll pray for you.
Yeah, every day.
We need to do a collective circle.
Marco, I feel like it's not fair to not ask you what are you excited about for your future as well?
Well, I aspire to work for the JGHC until I die peacefully in my sleep. That's 102. That's what I aspire toward.
Well, since we've talked a lot about scholarships and pointers for applying and for receiving them, is there a piece of like life advice or, you know, any tip about, you know, from your experience in college or working at the JGHC that you would give younger students?
I would say being proactive really helped me and organized. It's really hard, especially for people transitioning to high school, from high school to college, to be that. I'm a little bit neurotic, so I had that on my side. But knowing your full options and knowing when they're due so that you're not cramming all of these like 15 200-word essays all due the next day into one day. But yeah, just being proactive, knowing all of these things and all of these resources that you have at your disposal. I think that's my biggest piece of advice.
I think one piece of advice I would give is to not compare yourself to others or your progress to other people. I think that's something I've really struggled with in being in STEM. Like, you see numbers all the time and you're looking at the mean, the low, the high on Canvas, and it gets so exhausting, and it's like you go down a rabbit hole. But my suggestion would be, like, as long as you know that you're making progress, you're trying your best, don't compare yourself to other people and just let that progress guide you to where you want to be. Don't over stress about, what your grades are per se, but enjoy the college experience, get involved, study abroad. You may not have a 4.0 doing all of those things, but I think college is an opportunity to become a more well-rounded person and to just learn more about yourself, your leadership capabilities, your passions. So don't compare yourself to other people who just have different strategies than you. You can make it work anyhow. So
I love that advice, Whitney. That's pretty much what I was going to say more broadly. It's like, honors kids are so hard on themselves. You guys have spent your whole lives trying to be the best and brightest, and if you get an A-, like the end of the world. It's okay to fail at things. It's okay just to give it a college. It's called give it a college try. Like, that's a phrase that people use. Like, you're in college, try things. Like Nora said, there's so many opportunities getting thrust at you in these 4 years that you're here. Like, take advantage of everything you can, but don't beat yourself up. Like, don't make yourself miserable. Live life, enjoy it. You're here in college. It should be fun.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing those great pieces of advice, and thank you all so much for being here on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, Caroline, we are back in the studio. What did you think about the podcast today?
I really enjoyed the podcast. Even as someone who's going to be graduating in the spring, I feel like I learned a lot, not just from Nora and Whitney's experience, but also through, all that Marco told us about, like all the scholarships that are are still available. And there's still so many things for everyone to apply for, regardless of where you're at, in your time at USF.
Exactly. It's never too late to apply for scholarships, whether that's through USF or even there's plenty of other grants that you can receive. So it kind of just inspired me to, hey, maybe I should look out for a few more scholarships in my time at college.
Yeah, maybe I should be applying for that.
Exactly.
And for more scholarship information, check out Award Spring, as well as the Honor Roll newsletter and our website, usf.edu/honors, for more upcoming events, updates, and news. That will do it for this week's episode. The Honor Roll podcast is recorded in the Judy Genshaft Honors College at the University of South Florida Tampa campus. Production assistance is provided by honor student Sandra Napolitano. Thank you all so much for listening. Please do not forget to rate and review our podcast. We appreciate your feedback. Tune in next week where we hear more honor stories and talk to more members of the Judy Genshaft Honors College.
Until next time,
Go Bulls!